everyone, welcome back to B007 Movie Reviews after a 4 week hiatus. I am back to talk to you about the final film that I watched in 2024, and also, I believe, one of the best. It is called Better Man, and it is a movie musical biopic of the British megastar Robbie Williams. Now, admittedly, Robbie Williams was a major part of my latter teenage years and early 1920s. He was a huge part of the pop cultural zeitgeist. But I would like to think that even if you'd never heard of him, you could get a great deal out of watching this movie because it is a technically audacious, deeply moving film about what stardom does to you when you're young, about the demons that you face, about addiction, mental health crises, and ultimately redemption. So I would really recommend you watch this movie for sure if you love Robbie Williams, but regardless. So, Robbie Williams has been really open about his life story, not least in a Netflix documentary that was released last year. And we start at the beginning in this story with him growing up in poverty in a former industrial town in the Midlands of England, with a father played by Inside Number Nine's Steve Pemberton, who's so good in this role. A father who himself is a showman and who loves the greats, people like Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr., and wants to be an entertainer and kind of is an entertainer in a small way in working men's clubs in the north of England. But the father is also deeply selfish and abandons his son and his wife to go to London to chase his dreams and really has very little contact with Robbie thereafter, or at least until Robbie becomes famous and then can reflect well on him. So little Robbie grows up basically with his mum, who is a hard-working single mother, and his grandma, who's played by the always wonderful Alison Steadman. So he's surrounded by maternal love, and with his grandma, he watches the Two Ronnies and other British shows of that time. And she really does love him, but there's something that cannot fill the hole left by the father. And you get the feeling that his whole life he's been trying to impress his dad, make his dad proud of him, make his dad even just spend time with him and parent him. And it's a hole that we're going to see haunt him for the rest of his life. So at 15, Robbie Williams is plucked from obscurity to be part of what's going to become the biggest boy band of all time, Take That, or certainly of all time in England. And it's clear from the outset that he has not been chosen for his musical skill, but because he's cheeky and he's got a sense of humor and he's relatable. And it's very clear that in the pecking order of the band, he is not there to be a singer-songwriter. He is not credited for or given any credibility when it comes to musical skill. And so by the time he's 20, he's already quit the band. He's already got a raging drug habit. He's an alcoholic. He hates himself. He loathes himself. He's not satisfied. And he's been scribbling lyrics this whole time, but he's never been given that creative outlet. So it's amazing to me because I was alive during this Robbie Williams story, and even I hadn't realized just how famous he was so young. And you think, my goodness, all of us from 15 through 25 go through so much. And as Robbie Williams says, he thinks he was always going to become an alcoholic and an addict. But when you're given all that adulation and all that money and all those enablers, it just happens farther and faster. So he decides he's going to go solo, and he is fueled still by that kind of need for his father to acknowledge his success, but also now by the fact that, his Take That bandmate Gary Barlow is the avowed singer-songwriter of the band, so he's competitive with him. But he's also competitive with this new breed of Britpop bands that have come out, including people like Oasis. And Oasis have just played a sold-out Nebworth, which is a venue in England, and it means you've sold tickets to over 100,000 people. And that is the aim that Robbie Williams sets himself. Like, he is gonna sell out Nebworth, and if he does that, he'll have proven himself to the likes of Oasis, maybe to his father, maybe to himself. As I said before, the film is absolutely blunt about Robbie Williams' demons. He's an alcoholic, a drug addict. He's got huge self-hatred. He has suicidal ideation. And I think one of the genius moves, one of the most audacious moves of the writer-director Michael Gracey and Robbie Williams is to decide to depict him as a CGI chimp In other words, there's going to be a real performance by a guy called John O'Davis underlying the Robbie Williams character in this film, as well as Robbie himself. But it's going to appear to us on screen as an animal, as a chimpanzee, photo real. And no one's going to comment on this. Everyone else is going to be played by a human. And what is amazing about this is that we get to see Williams a bit as he sees himself, as an outcast, as a court jester, as an animal, someone sort of, bullied around by his own instincts. But what's really fascinating is that we also see an incredible range of emotion, from fear to joy, hurt, anxiety. There's something about the way the eyes are animated that makes them so expressive and moving. And the childhood version of the chimp is particularly endearing. So we have Robbie Williams as the chimp, but we also have his demons as avatars of himself, chimps in various guises and from different parts of his life. And when he finally faces them down and learns to forgive his dad in order to love himself, it really is a moment of deep, deep catharsis, incredibly moving. That Williams has survived, I think, is down, of course, to his own hard work in rehab, his own honesty, but also, I think, the love of three women: his mum, his adoring grandma, and for a period, his fiancée, Nicole Appleton. This part of the story is really hard to watch because it's not just Williams' story, right? It's also her story, and she is famous in her own right for being part of a Britpop girl band with #1 hits, and also for not just dating Williams, but then going on to be with Liam Gallagher. So we get the revelation in this that she really was in love with him at the height of his addiction, and at one point just can't take it anymore and is heartbroken. But also we get the very searing revelation that she fell pregnant and was forced to have an abortion by the band manager because they were on the cusp of success. And it's a deep hurt that the relationship can't get over either. So that's the content of the film. What of its construction? Well, you've heard about the high concept of the chimp. I want to talk about it in terms of its being a musical, because I think this is one of the best musicals I've seen in ages, maybe since Rocket Man. And I was thinking about this a lot. I think it's actually a better musical than Wicked. The set piece numbers are sensational. There's a bravura montage set to Williams' hit Rock DJ that's early on. It's filmed on Piccadilly and Regent Street. Apparently, it took them ages to get permission to close that central bit of London down. And through this montage, you get taken through Take That's rise to success. And for those of us who remember all those pop videos and Top of the Pops appearances and the choreography, it absolutely gets it right. The haircuts, the dance moves, the clothes. It's incredibly kinetic. It's full of energy. The camera moves 360 degrees. It captures something of the fizz and the hype of early success. I think it's one of the best staged movie musical numbers I've ever seen, to be honest. There's a second musical number, which is where Williams has his meet cute with Nicole Appleton. And I think that's also amazing because in the course of that number, which is a beautiful sort of dance number to She's the One, #1, her dancing is phenomenal. This actress, Rachel Bano, who I've never seen before, but her dancing is phenomenal. But through that montage, you get their whole relationship. You get the meet cute, falling in love, taking drugs together, getting pregnant together, and then sadly going through the abortion. The final musical number I would like to call out is to Williams' most famous, arguably, hit, Angels. And here we have him on the verge of everything he's ever wanted, which is to play Nebworth. He's fallen out with his mates. He is a horrible addict. He hates himself completely. His grandma's died. He's attending the funeral. It's so moving. It's so layered. And we realize actually at that point that Nebworth is not the culmination. That is not the concert that's the culmination. We're going to see him actually sober and well and embodying what he truly loves, which is the music of the Rat Pack, in a concert at Royal Albert Hall. I cannot speak more highly of Williams' honesty and creativity and his partnership with Michael Gracey in this film. I think Better Man is one of the most unique, compelling, and affecting films that I've seen this year. I was crying for a lot of the back half hour of it, both with sadness and joy. I think it's also one of the most honest and moving depictions of addiction and mental health crisis that I've ever seen on film, and I would really heartily recommend it to you. As I said before, you're going to get a lot more out of this if you know the music of Robbie Williams and if you can remember some of those big iconic moments. But even if you haven't, I think this is just a deeply humane, wonderful film to watch. So, Better Man is rated R. There is a lot of fruity language in this film, but also a lot of really tough meat. So think carefully if you want to watch it. It is not hiding anything about what it is to be clinically depressed, to be suicidal, to be an addict. It has a running time of 134 minutes and was released in the USA on Christmas Day and in the UK on Boxing Day. I think it goes wide in the USA on January 10th. I'm really hoping that it picks up an audience there. In the meanwhile, Happy New Year to you all, and thank you for listening.